episode 4073, It's Supposed to Be Hard.
Moms, it's time to rediscover, rejuvenate, and renew who you are in mind, body, and spirit. Welcome to Create Your Now, Your Best Selfie, the show to help you do just that. Here's your host, certified life coach, personal trainer, and nutritionist, Christiane Wargo.
Happy day and happy blessed Memorial Day. It is a beautiful day in the neighborhood, and I hope that you are choosing to spend it with family and friends, and also taking time to remember why we actually have a day set aside for those who have gone before us to give us the freedoms that we have. It's supposed to be hard. For those of you who are brand new to Create Your Now, welcome to this incredible family. I'm so delighted of your presence. If you already had the opportunity, you want to head on over to createyournow.com, where you can learn more and sign up for the Kisses newsletter, the Keep It Simple strategy, everyday solutions to live, love, and impact. This episode is brought to you by AIM, Inspiring Connection and Community. Well, I really do hope that you are having and have had a beautiful, blessed, long holiday weekend. If you're in another country, I would encourage you to remember those who have fought for the freedoms that you do have in your country. And that is something that we honor here in the U.S. And I really want to encourage you to make sure you take time. If you are going out, maybe pick up the tab of a soldier that you happen to see and their family. Don't take for granted the freedoms that you have. I know a lot of times we just kind of get wrapped up in our own thing, and we live in this culture that often sells the idea of easy success. Work smart, check the boxes, whoop, 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 and life will flow effortlessly. But let's be real. That's not how it works. Life is hard. In fact, it's supposed to be hard. If it weren't, everyone would be living your exact life. Everyone would want to do what you're doing, or want what the stars are doing, the celebrities are doing, the sports people are doing, right? Think about all the people you admire. The master craftsman, the devoted mom, the volunteer who gives with the heart. You, for goodness sakes. What if their roles were easy? Would everyone rise to that level of dedication? Absolutely not. The difficulty of these roles is exactly why so few rise to greatness in them. Take a writer or an actor, for example. The glittering spotlight covers countless hours of grinding, rejection letters from the producers and the publishers, auditions that go nowhere, phone calls that are never received, self-doubt that just stirs up like every other hour going, why am I even doing this? Why did I make my move here? And then starting over again and again and again and again. If becoming excellent were easy, the world would be flooded with best-selling authors and award-winning actors. It's not. So they aren't. Over this weekend, I caught some of the French Open. If you're a tennis player, if you didn't know it, French Open is on. I know it's kind of hard when it falls on a holiday weekend. For me, that's how I remember it. It's around Memorial Day, just like the U.S. Open will be around Labor Day for us. And then there's Wimbledon in between. Yeah, that's how I kind of keep things together and keep my mind focused, because the Australian Open is early, right? It's January into February. So those are the four big Grand Slams. And I love tennis. I love watching it. So I was catching some of the French Open, and I was watching the American tennis player Taylor Fritz compete. And Fritz is ranked number 7, but is battling knee tendonitis. And he usually wants to play a lot of games and competitions, and he wants those matches before he goes and plays the Grand Slams. But he hasn't been able to, because he's been battling the knee injury. And also, on top of that, he has had a recent heartbreak from a breakup with his long-term girlfriend, I think about 6 years. Now, I'm not sharing gossip here. That's not what this story is about. This is a reminder that no matter how talented you are, how far you climb, the road doesn't get easier. Fritz fights through his struggles every point. And if playing at that level were easy, everyone would be doing it. Everyone would want to be Taylor Fritz. Look at Novak Djokovic. He lost the first set in his round 1 match and had to fight to win the next 3 sets to move to round 2, which, by the way, he did. Tennis isn't easy. Life isn't supposed to be. Hard work, resilience, grit separate the champions from the crowd. This applies across the board. If you're into football and you're missing it, going, come on, can we not speed it up? I'm ready for it, right? Whether it's college football or the NFL, whatever it is for you. Maybe you're like, I'm just trying to get through baseball and the Stanley Cup playoffs. Okay, I get that too. Take a deep breath. It's all right. But wherever you are in all of this, if it was easy, right? If you wanted to be the Tom Brady in your career, could you be that just like that? No. It takes work. It takes sacrifice. It takes making decisions that nobody else is going to. If you want to be that CEO that started out with $1 in their pocket and now all of a sudden they're worth over $2 billion and they sell their company for that. Pretty amazing. Go It Cosmetics. Jamie did an incredible job. She was turned down so many times. But she wouldn't have gotten where she was if everybody could get there, right? It's supposed to be hard. And that's really, honestly, the simple truth that we forget. Difficulty is the price of entry. As my dad would like to say, you got to pay your dues. That's basically what that means. And speaking of my dad, I miss him terribly. It is Memorial Day. And I want us all to remember those who have gone before us, our soldiers, who chose a path of sacrifice and courage. It was not an easy path for them. If it were, everyone would have chosen it. But they didn't. The soldiers who said yes and was willing to go, they chose grit. They chose commitment and the willingness to face hardships when others would not. They took a stand, willing to sacrifice for the freedoms they believed in and the ones we are blessed with today. Join me in never forgetting. I come from a long line of those who went to war, who were in the military, female and male, including my dad. I don't take it for granted, the freedoms that we have. But it is easy for us to wake up thinking, why does it have to be so hard? Why can't I just fill in the blank? I know we want our dreams to come easy, but anything worth having requires hard work. Let me take it even a step further. God sent his only son to die on the cross for you and me. That, my friend, is sacrifice. The ultimate sacrifice, of which our soldiers did for here in the United States of America. And Jesus says, I'm willing to lay down my life so that you may have eternal life. Are you willing to give up your life, the hard stuff, to get to where God has divinely designed for you to be? Now, I know you're thinking, Christiane, that's a little heavy on Memorial Day. It is. But my friend, you're made for more. You're made to rise. And knowing it's supposed to be hard, how do you go after your dream anyway? You got to have a willing heart. That is your Kids to Keep It Simple strategy. Serve with a willing heart. Because if you don't have that heart and it's all head, let me tell you, you're going to give up fast. And you probably have in your lifetime. I have. And it's not just about the excuses. Don't blame the kids because, you had 1, then you had 2, then you had 3. Nope, don't do that. Don't blame your spouse. Don't blame the bank. Don't blame, your financial status. Look at what was really going on. Maybe it wasn't the right time. Maybe it wasn't what God wanted you to do. Or maybe it was just too hard and you said, you know what, I'm just not doing it. And you turned around. Have you ever thought about what if you did that? Come on, be honest. I know I have. I was on my way to medical school. I've shared this story before. And then we found out I was pregnant with our first. I made the hard decision. I was one little step away. Basically, I'd already been accepted. But I had to go through this interview thing. I was like, really? Can you not just send me the letter? I had to go through this one more step, which was good because God knew. See, my husband was in postgraduate also. He would have been a second year and I would have been a first year. I had no family nearby. My dad was stationed in Belgium, so my mom and dad were over in Belgium. Quite a commute. And guess what? Cell phones did not exist back then. It was very expensive to travel. When they came over, they flew standby. We had to call on certain weekends where you get 10 cents a minute and you would try to talk in 10 minutes as much as you can because that cost a lot of money. But you would do it and then you would wait for another month for the deal. And you'd pick up that corded phone and you would talk. You would go to the 1 hour photo shop place and you would take your film that you would carry in your hand and say, could I have this? And it would cost you like $20. And then you would go to the post office and have to mail it. And it cost me another $15 to mail it overseas. There's no way. But let me tell you, I've asked myself many, many times, what if I would have tried? What if? How different my life would have been. I don't know if I would have had number 2, 3, 4, and 5 in our children. I have no idea. I know I would have had number 1 because I was pregnant with her. At the time, we didn't know it was her. It was a baby. So I know I would have at least had 1 child. But what did that look like long term? I have no idea. I don't know how that would have shifted us. Have I thought about it? Of course I have. But do I sit there and kick myself over my decision? No, I made the decision and now it's time to move on. It was okay. It's supposed to be hard. Life isn't easy. But regardless of what you're doing, you have to serve with a willing heart. You have to know, how do I keep this momentum when the going gets tough? Number 1, you have to own the struggle. You have to. Accept difficulty as a given, not a detour. Don't be surprised when a detour happens. When challenges come, remind yourself this is just part of the process. It's not a personal failure. Let me tell you, if you can do that, if that's the only thing you take away from today, is that, gosh, if I can get up and know that if there's a detour, it's not a personal failure. It's just, well, I got to rise up again and I'm going to keep going. That's owning the struggle. You're going to get further faster. Resistance confirms you're growing. The tension is real. But that tension is needed to grow and stretch you. For you to transform from who you are to who you are becoming. So that heart has got to be willing to own the struggle. Number 2, break it down. Don't bite off more than you can chew. When the mountain looks too high, break your goals into actionable, bite-sized steps. 1 step at a time leads to miles of greatness. You're on a journey. Yes, sometimes you'll have to sprint, but majority of the time, who wins the race? The tortoise or the hare? Little turtle does. I've got a turtle out here that sits, actually I have 2 that sit out here in our backyard around the pool area. One that's real close, it's very colorful, and one that's further out that has flowers in it. And they're both very unique, but it's a reminder that, you know what? Slow and steady wins the race. Life isn't always about the sprint. Progress is progress. Celebrate each small victory as proof You're moving forward. One step at a time leads to miles of greatness. And then finally, number 3, lean on purpose. When pain and doubt creep in, you know they're going to. It's going to happen. When you're hurt, when you're caught off guard, reconnect with your why. What's the core reason that pushes you, even when it hurts? Purpose is fuel that powers you through the hardest miles. Have you ever watched those Olympic runners? Especially the ones in the Winter Olympics. I just think they're crazy sometimes. But they're out there, and especially when they're doing the skis, cross-country skiing. And I'm like, can you go any slower? I mean, it's hard. Have you ever tried to do that? Okay, I did when I was little. We lived on the lake, and my ski slope was literally our driveway. I kid you not. I had my dad's skis, and I'd try them out. I'd stuff the front with socks so I could use them. I thought I was a really cool girl. My siblings were younger, so they just kind of looked at me like I was crazy. They do the sledding, but I would be on the skis. And I thought, yeah, I got this. And I would watch when I was little, the Olympics, right? And watch it in the Winter Olympics and how they were doing the cross-country skiing. And I'm like, I could do that. And I'm thinking, I could barely get up my driveway to go down it because it was a slope up. But once when you got up, coming back down was no big deal. But when you're doing cross-country skiing, like there's a lot of ups and not very many downs. It's hard work. And then at the end, somehow, some way, it's like there's fire. It's like they have a jetpack on. You're like, where do they get that energy from? It's that power. At the very last, you're like, yes, I got this. Somehow you got the steam, the energy, the fuel to push through, to get through those hardest miles. And maybe it's only for a couple moments, but it's moments worth having because you're called to live out your purpose. I can't help but think of an eagle this Memorial Day. I just think eagles are absolutely gorgeous. I don't know. Search them up. I won't put a link in the show notes. There's so many things out there, but there are cameras that actually watch and, focus on bald eagles and just seeing the babies being born and watching them grow. I mean, it just amazes me. God is so good and just his creation. And I love watching them, but an eagle itself is just majestic. They're huge, number one. Okay. If you've ever stood by one, I mean, unless if you're maybe Shaq or something, you're going to feel small. These birds are honking huge, and they are gorgeous, and they are majestic. So when I think of Memorial Day, I think of the eagle, and I think about Isaiah 40, verse 31, and I think about our soldiers who have gone before us, and I think sometimes that's a verse that comes to their mind way too often. But did you know that an eagle doesn't try to avoid the storm? When they know it's coming, they don't just kind of run the other direction. They don't go and hide. Instead, it faces the storm head on. And when a storm is approaching and the eagle's flying, the eagle actually soars higher, riding the powerful updrafts and the winds that storms bring. It's going into the storm. So instead of fighting the turbulence, it's a little bit smarter, right? It uses the storm's energy to lift itself above the clouds, gaining the altitude and a broader perspective. It rises up above the storm. When tough times come, meet them with strength and strategy like the eagles do. Don't run from the storm, rise with it. I don't know where you are today. I know God does. And I want you to know that there's no accident that you're here. You're listening to this for a reason. Something has caught your ear and your heart. And I want you to pay attention to that. Whatever it is, it may be one word, a phrase. It stood out to you. Pay attention. That's not by happenstance. Somebody's knocking at your door, and there's a reason for it. Pay attention. If your journey was easy, everyone would be on it. Everyone would want to be you. But as you know, it's supposed to be hard because that's what makes it yours. And that's what makes it worth fighting for. Today, this Memorial Day, give thanks. Say a prayer for those who have given us the freedoms that we have. And remember, you're worth the fight too. Go in peace. Be present. Be incredible. Be you. I love you so very much. I cannot wait to see you on the other side. Blessings, hugs, and lots of love. We'll talk to you real soon. Have a blessed Memorial Day and rise high like an eagle. I love you. Bye-bye.
Feeling inspired, ready to train for life, and love your journey? Visit createyournow.com for more incredible resources to help you along the way. We'll see you next time on Create Your Now, Your Best Selfie. And remember, always be sure you consult your physician before beginning any health and fitness plan.